What's up, gang? It's Mufasa,
Angie.
the rulers, and this is the second one today. Reaction. It's called 100 Places in Indiana. We in Indiana right now. The Prince family, they from Indiana. So yeah, shout out to Indiana, I guess. But I'm from Illinois. But we about to watch this motherfucker right here. We about to watch it all the way through. And then we're gonna give our feedback. It's like 16 minutes, almost 17 minutes. So y'all stay in tune with us and y'all watch it all the way through. Like, comment, subscribe. And this our second one today. So yeah. Tune in.
What do you want? Want a job that I don't hate.
From prestigious colleges plagued by extreme paranormal occurrences to bridges you definitely don't want to get caught walking across in the dark, ghosts, ghouls, and even monsters lurk in the shadows of the Hoosier State, which is why the Speakeasy is bringing you our list of the most haunted places in Indiana, starting with number 10, Highland Lawn Cemetery. The Highland Lawn Cemetery in Terre Haute opened in 1884, with the chapel being constructed in 1893 and the bell tower just a year later in 1894. The most famous haunting surrounding these grounds is that of the ghostly dog Stiffy Green and his owner John Heinel. When John passed in 1920, Stiffy refused to leave his master's grave. He was even adopted, but continued to break out and return loyally to his true owner's final resting place, refusing to eat or even drink. Eventually, Stiffy passed away, and a local taxidermist preserved him, then placing him in the tomb with his owner. As soon as a few days after the dog's passing, and up until today, many report the ghostly apparitions of John and Stiffy playing happily amongst the headstones. And it is almost common to hear an otherworldly barking coming from the area. As if this wasn't enough, another permanent resident of the cemetery, Martin Sheets, was buried here in 1910, but not before having a telephone installed in his tomb, in case he was accidentally buried alive. Years and years later, his widow was found dead from a stroke, possibly shock, clutching the telephone. When they opened Martin's tomb to lay her body to rest, they found his phone off the hook. Number 9, Hanover College. Hanover College in Hanover was founded in 1827 by Reverend John Finley Crowe in a small log cabin. When Madison University overtook the school in 1843, Crowe started his own school, and by the next spring, all students had transferred back to under his watch.
All this shit in
Hanover
Indiana.
College was officially restored on Christmas Day of that year. To date, many locals, faculty, and students have reported paranormal happenings on the school grounds, including disembodied voices, cold spots throughout the halls, and objects going missing randomly, then days later being found in odd places. Among the known apparitions here, the spirit of the 12th University president, Albert G. Parker Jr., has been sighted on numerous occasions. This isn't surprising, as he loved the school so much that he literally served till the day of his death. He is often seen in Parker Auditorium, which is named after him, and has been known to be accompanied by scratching sounds, disembodied footsteps, and shadows that dart across the walls. The Donner Residence Hall boasts its own terrifying apparition, as many have reported things disappearing from locked rooms, doors opening and closing as if someone invisible is entering, and lights turning on and off by themselves. Lastly, the spirit of Reverend Crowe himself has been sighted on numerous occasions, a serene and content look on his face. Number 8, Willard Library. Willard Library in Evansville was originally constructed in 1876 from a trust Willard Carpenter started to fund what he called a dream library for the people. He poured all of his resources and love into the building, ensuring that the construction soldiered on through the economic decline, resulting in the library finally being open to the public in 1885. Throughout the years, many who have dared to wander these old rows of books have reported some pretty creepy paranormal disturbances, such as cold spots, orbs in photographs, and the feeling of being watched. These occurrences are believed to stem from an apparition dubbed the Gray Lady, who has been appearing to visitors since a janitor spotted her in 1930. Though not much is known about who or what she is, she always seems to appear in the same form, a full-bodied figure of a woman shrouded in a gray aura or mist. Sightings are so common here, in fact, that ghost cams have been installed and replaced throughout the years and have caught numerous photos of this otherworldly traveler. If you go searching for her, take caution. Throughout the years, the Gray Lady has been known to get a little physical, hurling books from shelves, typing on typewriters, and even heaving large boxes at those who aren't respectful of her domain, with several of her actions even resulting in the police being called. Number 7, the French Lick Springs Hotel. The French Lick Springs Hotel in French Lick has a name derived from the natural salt deposits found throughout the area and was dubbed as such when French trappers moved here, paving the way for salt miners as well. The original hotel is estimated to have been built in 1845, with some sources believing it to have been as early as 1840 by brothers Thomas and Dr. William Bowles, who purchased the land in 1832. The hotel has changed ownership and been expanded numerous times throughout the years, and it's believed that the many renovations may have stirred something dark in the foundation. Staff and guests report a wide range of supernatural happenings, including orbs in photographs, phantom wafts of perfume, and extreme temperature changes. Many have reported the ghost of a well-dressed man in the lobby who matches the description of one Thomas Taggart, a previous owner who showed the hotel what many consider its best era. But it would appear Thomas isn't alone, as he's also been spotted hosting lavish, ghostly parties in the ballroom and even riding a spectral horse down the hallway in the middle of the night, waking guests with loud hoofsteps. More disturbingly, in an undisclosed room, a bride is said to have killed herself while in the bath, leaving a gruesome red stain. Many have reported hearing disembodied sobbing associated with this haunting. And even though the tub has been replaced multiple times, the stain keeps coming back. Number 6, Avon Bridge. Avon Bridge in Avon is a railroad bridge crossing over White Lick Creek and Country Road 625 East. The first bridge was built in the 1850s by Irish immigrant workers and houses a local legend so disturbing it easily made our list. As the story goes, a worker tripped and fell into one of the columns, the fall killing him instantly. His peers were unable to remove his body from the cement, so they simply built him into the foundation. From that day forward, especially at night, those who pass this column of the bridge hear piercing screams and pounding as if someone is trapped inside. In 1906, the bridge was torn down and rebuilt, with a second track being added in 1908. During the lengthy construction, it said that multiple workers fell to their deaths, and afterwards, locals began seeing translucent construction workers trying to signal down automobiles, and the loud sound of bodies hitting the ground and water below. Lastly, and perhaps most chillingly, local legend tells of a mother walking the tracks with her baby when she got caught on a tie. She was forced to jump to avoid an oncoming train, and while she survived, the child was killed instantly. The mother died from grief only days later, and to this day, many in the area report the sound of a baby crying desperately and the mother calling back. Some have even seen their full forms at the bottom of the bridge. Their cries for help seem so real, they've sent many running for help, only to watch the ghostly mother and her child disappear into the night without a trace.
$1,200, $5,000, and this one is $3,000. Every single month I get.
Number 5, Allison Mansion. Located on 64 acres, Allison Mansion in Indianapolis was built by businessman James A. Allison and his wife, Sarah, between 1911 and 1914. Mr. Allison was the esteemed founder of Presto Light, the Allison Engine Company, and co-founder of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In 1928, James fell in love with his secretary, Lucille, leaving his wife and marrying her instead. But the marriage was short-lived, as within a year, James contracted pneumonia and died at the age of 56.
That's what he did.
The home has switched hands and purposes many times over the years, and local legend tells of a little girl who is said to have drowned in the basement pool. At night, many who've entered the basement, especially alone, have reported hearing strange gurgling sounds, crying, and some have even seen the figure of the ghostly little girl skirting the darkness. Many have also reported furniture in different locations overnight, disembodied whispers, and shadowy apparitions. And she isn't alone, as many have also seen Mr. Allison, sometimes accompanied by Lucille. He is often known to move objects, appear in photographs, and turn lights on and off. On numerous occasions, his voice has been heard happily chatting in the attic, possibly with Lucille, and on several occasions the library has been found completely rearranged, not one book untouched. Number 4, St. Mary's College.
Notre Dame.
St. Mary's College in Notre Dame was built in 1844 by 4 Sisters of the Holy Cross who came from France to start a college in northern Indiana. In 1855, it was moved to the current site. Throughout the years, local legend and student accounts tell of numerous hauntings plaguing this
It's
beautiful
over
campus.
halfway done. now.
In Holy Cross Hall, the oldest building, a ghostly nun has been sighted with a large spectral dog silently watching any who cross their path. And students also report strange sounds, especially around the restroom area. Lake Marion, the man-made lake on campus, has its own disturbing legacy. During its construction, the body of a woman was found and reburied beneath the south end of the lake. At night, many passing the area have reported a ghostly woman donning Victoria-era clothing and a bluish glow drifting over the water's surface. Regina Hall is haunted by an invisible presence that likes to play the piano at night. And lastly, Le Mans Hall is haunted by a ghost dubbed Mary. As local legend goes, Mary was a student who hung herself in the dorms. She appears as a greenish silhouette and is most commonly seen standing in dorm rooms staring at the wall. 2 other unidentified students are rumored to have hung themselves in the bell tower here, and their spirits have been known to drop in from time to time, casting
Nice people
shadows that
still
look like
going to
hanging
that
bodies
school.
over the ground
Yeah.
below.
Dummies.
Number 3, the Story Inn. The Story Inn in Nashville is comprised of various buildings that were constructed through the 1800s and originally acted as part of the village of
That's a
Story.
little-ass car.
In 1978, Benjamin and Cynthia Schultz bought 4.5 acres, including the general store, grain mill, barn, and small houses, and turned them into a bed and breakfast.
That's
Throughout
what
the
I'm
next
talking about.
decade, 24 acres of the town were also renovated with guest cottages, and though this may look like the perfect summer getaway, paranormal activity can get pretty spooky at night. Throughout the years, many have reported the same occurrence time after time, encountering an apparition known only as the Blue Lady. She is most often sighted in the Blue Lady Room, located inside the old general store, but has also been seen in other buildings and throughout the surrounding forests.
Right.
The Blue Lady is believed to be the ghost of the wife of Dr. George Story,
That's a Porsche.
founder of the original village, and appears as a woman in white with
Shit,
icy blue
ah.
eyes and a blue glow
That's a
surrounding
Porsche.
her.
It's ugly, but
Those who have seen this specter
Man,
also
I've seen no
swear that
Porsche
she
look
brings
like
with her
that.
the smell of cherry tobacco and sometimes leaves behind blue items such as ribbons or yarn. Guests who stay in the Blue Lady Room are said to be able to see her by flicking on the blue light next to the bed, and accounts written in the guest log go all the way back to the 1980s. Also reported here are otherworldly lights floating throughout the buildings and treetops, doors opening and closing on their own, objects moving, pictures flying off the wall, and disembodied voices. Though not as common, a male presence has also been seen here, leaving some to speculate it's none other than George Story.
What?
Number 2, Big Tunnel. Big Tunnel in Tunnelton was originally built in 1857 and is also known widely as the Tunnelton Tunnel. It was shortened in 1898, with the actual town forming later in 1959. During the reconstruction, it said that bodies and caskets from the nearby Cemetery Hill slid down through the worksite, and it's believed that some of the bodies, or at least some pieces of them, were built right into the brickwork. As if this wasn't creepy enough, local legend tells of a man who was decapitated by a passing train while working on the tracks, and also a pair of guards found dead hanging from railroad spikes at the edge of the tunnel. To this day, those brave enough to explore this creepy crosscut report seeing said guards' bodies hanging from the far end, and the ghost of the headless workman
go
on the
to
tracks holding a
the
lantern
one
in
in
one
Terre
hand
Haute.
and searching for his missing head with the other.
What? Hell's Gates?
Another legend
That's
tells of a
outside,
family
that's
who crashed their horse and carriage into a nearby river down the hill. Their screams of terror can still be heard to this
Hell's
day.
Gates has got some
Lastly,
stories.
the ghost of murder victim Henry Dixon is said to haunt the entirety of the tunnel.
Y'all wanna
and
see
it's
us
said
go
his
to
presence
Hell's
can
Gate?
always be felt. Angry. and seeking justice.
They need to comment.
Also reported here are strange floating lights,
It ain't
blue-light
live,
creatures,
so they
and
can't
evidence of
comment.
occult practices throughout the years.
Well, they still need
Many
to
have
let us
also
know.
reported the full-bodied apparitions of what are believed to be the spirits of the caskets and bodies built into the foundation, and they are almost always reported as looking lost and confused, forever searching for their true resting place. Number 1, the University of Notre Dame. The University of Notre Dame in Notre Dame was established in 1842 by Father Edward Sorin, with the first school being housed in Father Stephen's old log chapel. Between 1842 and 1844, several buildings were added to the campus, including the old college, the first church, and the main building. In 1844, the school finally received a charter and was officially named the University of Notre Dame du Lac, or the University of Our Lady of the Lake. One fateful Wednesday of April 23, 1879, a fire erupted from the main building and burned it and 4 other buildings to the ground, with the main building reconstructed that very same year. And buildings such as Washington Hall literally built where the music hall once stood. Fortunately, there were no fatalities. However, it's suspected that the construction disturbed Native American burial sites, and afterwards, many began reporting war drums and translucent figures on horseback riding around the campus after dark. Hauntings on campus furthered in 1886 when a steeplejack fell from the loft of Washington Hall. Shortly thereafter, students and faculty began reporting strange hammering sounds, scratching, and the sound of work coming from the roof.
Summertime, them bitches get bad.
On several occasions, passerbys have reported the form of a man tumbling and screaming through the night, but vanishing right before he hits the ground. Another ghost believed to haunt this old hall is that of Jim Manavi, a student professor who played the trumpet and lived there at the time of his death. To date, especially after dark, many report the ghostly sounds of a trumpet melody long lost to time. In 1920, football legend George Gipp got locked out and slept on the steps of Washington Hall. He contracted pneumonia and died, but not before the coach got a chance to say goodbye and promise him that when the team was down, he would remind them to win one for the Gipper. The spirit of George is often seen riding a white horse up the front steps, a triumphant look on his face. Other strange occurrences seemingly unrelated to these hauntings have been reported all across campus as well, including doors slamming on their own, footsteps in empty stairwells and around corners, and the sound of an otherworldly horn at night. Many have had personal possessions go missing only to find them in the same place days later, and, on several occasions, students and faculty have reported hearing disembodied whispers and even being touched by unseen hands. Lastly, several have claimed to see the ghost of Father Edward Sorin himself, usually around the main building, a content look on his face. When passerbys get too close, he's known to vanish into thin air. With the multitude and severity of hauntings creeping around this old school, and the fact that the spirits have made actual physical contact with witnesses, it's no wonder we chose the University of Notre Dame as our pick for the most haunted place in Indiana. There you have it. Those were our picks for the most haunted places in Indiana. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more. Click the like button down below and share it with all of your friends.
Now, what the fuck do y'all think about that shit?
I don't believe it. A lot of it I don't.
I say we need to go and find out. Especially since we here in Terre Hut. We definitely need to go there.
Oh, the Highland one. That one is true.
I want to go. I want to see it.
But I think he could have did a little bit more investigation on Highland one because he failed to put in there when the dog got stuffed. They said you hear the howling, didn't he say that? But it also says, from what I've been told, that you can see green peering eyes because they put the dog inside the mausoleum because it kept getting messed with. So why did he leave that out for him?
But that's part 2. Well, this is not part 2. This is the second reaction to the Speakeasy, Haunted Places in Indiana, Part 1. So, y'all tell us what y'all think. And make sure y'all like, make sure y'all comment, make sure y'all subscribe. Until then, see y'all niggas later.